Okay, I thought I would do a review on this brand new Septree stainless steel food dehydrator. I already took it out of the box a few minutes ago. Here's the specs. The one I got, 1000 watts. We can test that. It weighs 37 pounds, around 36 pounds. The average these two, I don't know what the difference is. It's heavy. They put a heavy on there. It's heavy to carry around in this big box. It was packed up well enough. Just two pieces of styrofoam. One on the bottom there, you can see, one on the top. Anyway, I got it. It wasn't all, there's no dents or anything, it wasn't banged up. So here it is. The nice thing was it had these two big heavy duty handles on top so I could pick it out of the box. Which was nice because I don't know if you ever fought trying to get something out of a box before. So I haven't done any more than this. Let's look at it. Here's a latch. And here's the trays in here on top. All packaged up in plastic. And here's another box inside. I think they give like some mitts or something with it. We'll open those up in a minute. Here we go. Yeah, the reason I picked this out and paid a little extra is because there's no plastic on this. It's all stainless. And you can see in the back here's the there's a little guard there before the fan, and there's the heating element. Pretty simple design. It's got some vents here in the front to let the air out when it blows through, and it's got in the back, it's got a vent to let the air through. So, of course, you got air coming in, you need air going out. So that's the deal. Here's the back. There it is. And here's the control. This can be a microcontroller. We'll find out how that works. It's probably pretty simple. The other reason I got this was because they say you can take off the back. It's got these two clips. So this unit here with that fan and the controller comes off. That way you can hose it out or clean it out. So I guess this, I'll have to see if that screen stays with this part. I think it comes out. I think the screen might stay with the back part. I don't have a tripod set up, so it's hard for me to see. Oh yeah, there. Take that one latch off. There's another latch like this on the other side, so the whole thing will come off. I'm not going to take it off right now. But these are pretty good clips. They look pretty solid. They're riveted on well. There we go. So that's why I got it, because my old one, where is it? I had a cheap plastic dehydrator. This one, which I blew the thermal fuse once. I put a different temperature controller on it. And anyway, long story short, since I blew the thermal fuse, replaced it, and then I blew the thermal fuse, and then one day I forgot to put the temperature probe in, and see, I melted them. That's why we put thermal fuses in. And I said, enough with that. It never worked that well. I'll get something better. And hopefully this is going to be the better one. It's a lot bigger. And this old design, of course, this old design, it blew down from the top through the 4 trays that came with it. And it never really worked that well. Really, it didn't do even drying. So I'm excited to try this. I have a lot of things to dry. A lot of peppers in the garden. Here's the old-fashioned dehydration method. But I want to cut up some of the bigger bell peppers and some other peppers and dry them quicker, sooner. And I'd like to do some apples in the future. Let's look at one of these racks. I'll pull one out here. Because now when I looked at the other okay, I see they're going to have in that box. Anyway, they're going to have some things to put in here, slots. But just looking at these stainless screens here, it's pretty rugged. It's not cheap, thin. I mean, I can push on it, it doesn't deform, so they're pretty rugged. I guess the true test of time will be if everything stays in line. Here's the corner, which is the failure point. And are they welded or just crimped? Looks like they're bent. Oh, they look pretty good. Hopefully they'll hold up over many years. So let's look in the box here. Okay, this is the box that was inside. Just cut it open. Kind of cramped for space in here. I'm not a true reviewer or pro. And we have the racks. These are going to be the ones that go inside here to hold those trays up. Let's see what else is in here. Looks like a drip tray for the bottom. This is heavy. This is heavy. Nice heavy steel too. Stainless. I'm guessing it's stainless. Pretty heavy duty and rugged. It's not going to bend. And what else did they give? They gave 2 plastic jars and some silicone little mitts. Not that important to me, but I guess they might be handy if you're having hot trays out of there. Anyway, all those other manufacturers give them, so they give them, because of course you're going to make your buying decision on that. They give a little screwdriver. Here's the manual, and oh, there's the handle for the door we have to put on. That's probably why they gave the screwdriver. So we'll put that on. That's going to go on here. No big deal. 2 screws. And these are some kind of a drying mat you put on the trays, I guess, to, I don't know, they're silicone. Feel like silicone. Maybe when you dehydrate certain kind of vegetables or fruits, so they don't stick on the screen. There's only 2 of them in here. Let's see. Grab that screen. I'm sure they're the same size. And there's the screen. Here's the mat. Yep. And I saw in ads that you can buy more of these things from various places. There you go. I'll figure that out later. So that's it. My overall first impression is pretty darn good. My battery's going low, so I have to continue this after I charge the battery and my camera. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about, here's what I paid for it. $269 minus, it was a $30 discount, so $239. So it's more than I was going to pay originally. I noticed too in the picture here on the rack that looks different from the ones that I got. So take note of that. See, these look curved and a different rim. So that is a little bit different from their ad. They still seem pretty well built, but they're not, definitely not like that. And anyway, I was looking at different one that was you know, like 6 tray, and it was $130. And then when I measured up the tray on the other one, let's see if I can find one. It wasn't a Septree brand, it was a different one. Anyway, see, this one is almost as expensive, and it doesn't have that detachable back, and there's some plastic or something on it. It's all one piece. So, but the other 6-tray one, it looked pretty good, you know, a good price and all, but the picture was deceiving, because I mean, when a picture can make it look like anything, but when I measured the racks on it, they were only like 8 by 8 inches or something, so a lot smaller than these. So it might have been this one. Let's see. So you have to pay attention. Yeah, see, the racks don't look, I don't know. They don't look like the same as the ones I got. They might be thinner, you know, and maybe not as rugged. And then the racks were only, like I said, about 8 by 8 inches, so that's quite a bit smaller. So I canceled the order on that one. And I don't know if it's this brand or not, but it was something similar to this. So I'm glad I spent the extra money and got the one I got after looking at it. Okay, I found a tripod. Let's try to show this. Here's the little mitt that came with it. Hi. See that? Cute, huh? Grab something with it, but who cares about that? Here's the cheap plastic containers that came with it. Pretty flimsy, and who cares, right? But I'll use them for something. And then I opened up that package with the racks. Haven't read the directions, how to put them on. But I'm guessing this goes in the back to keep the trays back. Let's see. There's only one logical way they could go on, right? There must be left and right. Let's see. Okay. So I'm guessing they just clip in. There's a little slot here. There's slots here. Yep, that's all there is to it. And it looks like one tray is going to go on here, and one tray will rest on here. I see there's just a little bit of that blue stuff that comes on new stainless they didn't remove. It's all gone otherwise. So I wiped everything off with a rag, soapy rag, you know, or a little detergent on it, just in case there's any machining oils or anything. It didn't seem like there was any, but with anything new metal, that's what I do. Especially regular steel. There might be some machining oils in there. But I wanted to show too that these are some neodymium magnets, super powerful. See, very strong magnet. Anyway, it doesn't stick to anything on here. So this is non-magnetic stainless. Whether that's a better stainless or not, I don't know. I'm not a metallurgist, but I do know if you go to the scrapyard and you have magnetic stainless steel, you don't get anything more than steel scrap price. But if you have this kind of non-magnetic, you get a better price for it. So anyway, like I said, I wiped everything off. I'll put these racks in. I tested everything with the magnet to make sure that nothing else on here was magnetic. Like sometimes, you know, you get things and they'll use like different kind of metal hinges, but these are all non-magnetic. Even the rivets. The rivets in here, see? So, good attention to detail. I did take off the back unit here. Let me pull it out so I can show you. Here's the heater unit. I'm gonna look in here and see what you can see. This is it. So it comes off. In the front, in the back. Anyway, I'm gonna set it down and I want to show something that Another attention to detail, which I think is nice, is on the back here. They have some slides that stick out. See these slides here? So that when you put this back on, it'll slide right on there. See? Pretty nice. Otherwise you'd be having to try to pull this up and to get it to line up, but they have those little slides on there to line it up. So that's good attention to detail. And you just put this clip back on. One on the other side too. Guess that's hard to do when you're holding a camera. Hopefully it's not looking upside down now. Anyway, you get the idea. Clips on real securely. So I'll plug it in and give it a try. I didn't wipe off anything in the back. Usually it's probably a good idea to heat things up in case there's any residual oils or something, you know, machining oils or anything on any of that. This screen is a part of the back. I didn't go in there and take it apart. So I'm going to turn it on, put the racks in there, put the rest of these on. This is going to go on here. See? They just slide on here. Like so. Like so. There, nothing to it. So I'm going to put all the rest of these on and we'll give it a try. We'll heat it up. I'm going to put some things in there later. So anyway, all in all, it's pretty well made. I don't have any complaints so far. There's the magnet showing nothing's magnetic in it. Oh, I was going to show too, now when that back was off, this thing was wobbling around a little bit because it needs that back part for structure, but nobody's going to leave the back off. There's no gasket in here. I don't think there's one needed anyway, because you know, it's not made to be airtight. It's got all the vents in there. So let's fire it up. I'll get it put together and fire it up and we'll see how it works. So here's the only thing I noticed putting these racks in. It's kind of loose, see? So what I did on another one was I just pushed this tab in a little bit. So I'll push it in this way, just with my finger, bend it in a tiny bit, and then when it goes on, you can push the tab in, and then get the other side to slide in there, and then it firms it up, makes it tighter. So I'll probably do that on all of them, because I don't know, if you pull it out the tray and bump it, it might slide up. So probably better to snug those in, and it's pretty easy to do. So you also get the instruction manual. Of course I don't read much. Gives you all the specs and some directions. I didn't read it, figured it out, but of course it says wipe all the parts off. Anyway, and then they give this nice color, glossy colored book here to tell how to dry things. Chicken rolls, you can dry those. Who knew? I don't do the meat stuff. Lots of meat, fish stuff, honeysuckle, how to dry honeysuckle, okra, cucumbers. I've never thought of drying cucumbers. I make pickles, but see, it gives the directions if you wanted to do it. And ginger, black fungus. I would try it if I had some. Never heard of where you get black fungus at. Cabbage. Well, it's showing like bok choy. I'll grow that. So it'll take 6 to 8 hours at 176 degrees Fahrenheit, 80 C. Peppers. 7 and 9 hours, 158. Well, we'll find out. I'm going to be slicing up peppers and putting them in there. Then maybe apples. Everybody, way you get this with it, you get the idea. Just to confirm the rack size, I don't have the centimeter reading here, but it's 15 and about 15, a little bit over a half, 15 and almost 15 and 3/4 by, should be the same because it's square, but we will make sure. Hard to do stuff with one hand. Anyway, yeah, 15 and you can see it there. Not quite 3/4. Anyway, let's put these in and see what it does. Oh, for comparison, I think the other ones were like 8 by 8. So, just so you get an idea. That's how much more room there is. They're like twice as big. So if you get one of those other cheap ones, you're getting a lot less space to dry. There's 8 inches, 8 inches. That would be like, not a quarter, but it'd be like a third or less of the room. Okay, here they're all in. It's like about an inch apart. See? Between them. Now there's no reason you can't just take a tray out if you have stuff that's taller. See? You won't have the full 10 trays, but you get a lot more room. If you take one out, you're going to have 2 1/4 inches between them. So I wondered about that on some of the other ones when they're pretty tight in between. They say they got 10 racks, but the stuff I'll put in will fit in this space, no problem. But I could see some bigger things not fitting. Okay, I got it powered up. Oh, I wanted to say too, the cord. That's electronics, people. It's a nice flexible cord. It's not super stiff or anything. So 16.3, 16 gauge, pretty typical. So I haven't looked at the directions or anything. Let's see if we can wing it on off. Wow, I barely touched that. That's what it turned on, 190 degrees. Here's how we set it. I touched that. There's up and down arrows. Oh, if I hold it, it goes down fast. Pretty sensitive touch. Timer. Okay. Time, same thing, up and down. Oh, it only goes 30-minute increments. Let's start over here. On. Timer. Time. Wow. Now that's unusual. Only 30-minute increments, so I would have thought it would be, 5-minute or 10-minute increments, but you only get 30 minutes. I'll have to look in the manual and see if that's true. I guess so. So there you go. Let's let it heat up. 125 degrees. And I've got an energy meter on there. Trying to feel if there's any heat coming out of the... I can smell it like it's warming up. Let's see what it looks like. Smells like. Oh yeah, I can feel some heat. I'm going to let this heat up pretty good before I use it, in case there's any residual, oils in there that gotta burn off. So I will set it up, temperature, high as it goes. So it goes up in 5-degree increments, it looks like. So we got that precision. There we go. What do I got for time? 4 hours and 29 minutes. It goes down in 1 minute. It counts down in 1 minute, but it only goes up in 30-minute increments. From the looks of it, so let's look at the energy meter, which is on my computer, I hope. Yeah, here we go. Power, 1000 watts, 8.3 amps. So it's as advertised. It said it's 1000 watts, and it's 1000 watts. And should be all apparent power because it's resistance heater. The little fan doesn't show in there much. Power factor, and that's what I was looking for. 1. That'd be resistance. So there we go. 1000 watts. It's 1000 watts exactly, just about. And of course, when it heats up, to maintain the temperature, it's going to turn on and off. But we're not at that point. I'll put a thermometer in there and see how accurate the temperature reading is. Okay, so I have it on running. I have it set to 75 degrees. I heard the relay in it click, so I guess to turn the heating element off. And it looks like it takes 33 watts to run the fan. So I'll show you the heat. Now okay, so this is set for 70 degrees. It doesn't show the actual temperature. It shows what you have it set for. I have this probe stuck in there from this meter. Never tested the accuracy of this, but it's a pretty good meter. And maybe I'll get another one and double check, but it says it's 102 degrees. It says it's set for 70, 102. So it overshot. And maybe we'll turn it up. See what it does. Let's see, is it on now? Nope, it's still off. And I have the probe stuck in like about the center of it. So it's not exactly accurate temperature wise. Oops. Oh, that thing is sensitive. Let's temperature, turn it up to 100. See what it says. That should turn the heat up. I don't want to leave my meter sitting up cooking here. Before I could feel the heat coming out of these vents pretty good. And it hasn't turned back on yet. It's interesting. So let's turn it up even more. That's interesting. Anyway, we're still here. It's at 100. It's holding 100. Let's turn it up. Temperature. Let's set it up to. I think I heard the relay kick on. 150. Let's see if it's heating. Yep, heater's on. So I'll have to let it run a little while and see what it gets up to. That's interesting though, that it didn't go down to 70. What are they calling for anyway? Most temperatures here, 95. They don't show anything that low anyway. 70, but it's coming up in temperature pretty slowly, which you'd want. You don't want it just cooking in there real fast. It's a quiet fan too. You can't hear the fan very much, so it's blowing in pretty slowly. Anyway, I'll let it heat up a while, and it's rising now, you can see. Okay, I just heard it kick off, and it's, you know, pretty close, 149 degrees. This is set for 150, and you can see there's no more heating going on, so that works. Seems to be more accurate on the higher part, you know. So anyway, hey, it works. It doesn't smell like anything, you know, like there's a lot of oil or anything in there burning off, so it's pretty clean. So I'll test it out a little bit, let it run a while, like I said, just to heat up. I think I'll turn it all the way up, let it run for an hour or so. Oh, there it all goes up to. Oh, there we go. 190. Let it go up to 190. Let's see if it kicked back on yet. Yep. Coil is heating. So we'll see what happens. Okay, I was out for a little while. Their heater just went back on. It was off just a second ago. And temperature is 185, 186. So it's pretty close to the 190 degree point I have it set for. And it's definitely, the top is warm. You wouldn't want to, it's too warm to hold your hand on there. And the door is warm. 190 is pretty hot. Sides are pretty warm. The bottom is warm. Yeah, it's pretty hot. I guess I would want to put it on something pretty heat resistant if I was going to run it up at these temperatures. Anyway, it smells a little bit, you know, I don't know if it's my temperature probe melting in there. This stuff looks like it should be heat resistant. 183. At 190, so it's not, I mean, the temperature probe is probably back in this unit somewhere, so I don't know how well it senses in the middle of the unit, but it's close enough for what it is. And yeah, it's off, so it's regulating on and off now to maintain that temperature. I don't know how, there it's up to 180. I don't know how much, you know, differential there is where I'll turn on and off, but it isn't totally accurate. It's 190, might be 190 back here, but it isn't 190 up towards the front. If I want to spend the time, I could pull this temperature probe in and out, put it on the top tray, put it on the bottom tray. But I'm not going to do that right now to see temperature fluctuations between the top and the bottom and all that. Maybe I could try real quick. Yeah, the thing's warm at this 190 degrees. You can see where I have it now. It's definitely hot. Let's put it up top here. See what it gets up to. I don't know if I need to latch that, but I will. So I got that sensor up at the top now. It's nice, it has a little window you can see in there, even though it's not the most bright inside here. Anyway, I'm glad I got it because it's not plastic and gonna fall apart. As long as this electronics holds up and the heating element holds up, we're in business. And I didn't even pay attention to the warranty on it. But since this company went to all the trouble of making a good rugged box and good quality on everything, how everything is mounted, stainless rivets, they didn't cut any corners, you know, and the little tray on the bottom to line this up. I'm assuming that the heating coil in there is going to be pretty reliable too. And I like the fact that if it ever breaks, I can put something else in there and make it work if I really needed to. So anyway, something's beeping. I think it's my meter. Let's see what it says. Yeah, pretty much same temperature at the top as it was in the middle. That's my conclusion. Pretty even heating. So I'm going to end this video here for now. And if I make an update, it'll be after I dry some things. One final note. I turned it off. And the nice thing is the fan is still running to cool off the heating element, blow out the residual heat. So that's a good sign. It didn't just shut everything off. Didn't shut it right down and let something warp. I guess that was it. No, that was my meter beeping. This thing doesn't beep. Well, the fan shut down. And at the exact same time my meter shut down. Oh. Let's see what the temperature is in there. I went past. Oh darn it, I went past again. Okay, there we go. Yeah, fan ran a little while. It's still hot in there though. So if this thing was better in any way, I would want to see a temperature reading, a live temperature reading, as well as the set temperature. But that's not what it does. That would be the only improvement I'd like to see. But they'd almost have to put a temperature sensor up in the compartment. So Septree, you did good. Okay, I just moved it, and I'll tell you what, these handles are perfect. You can grab both of them, lean it against you. Really worth a lot for moving around. If something this size did not have these handles, I mean, that would be a pain to move because it's pretty heavy. But with handles, no problem, at least for me. So consider that as a big plus. And the one thing I forgot to check earlier was when it's plugged in and turned off, does it take any power? It probably taking a little bit, but nothing that shows up on this meter. So that's a good thing. So if you leave it plugged in, it's not going to be sucking down power like some things do. So there's not much of a no load draw on it. Okay, time to wrap up the video. I did a batch of peppers. I don't know how many hours because I had it on and off different times during the days because I used solar and the sun went out. Anyway, these are nice and done. I started with this 135, and I turned it up later on when they dried a little bit. I turned it up some towards the end. So everything got pretty dry. Yeah, the adjustment, you barely touch these and they activate. Anyway, what it does is it counts down the time. So the time will count down. That's the only thing that changes when it's on. It'll hold the temperature, but you'll see if you come back later in 5 minutes, it'll say 125 or whatever. Anyway, works good. I like it. I had all 10 trays loaded up. These were the thickest ones here. This one's a little moist because I didn't slice it thin enough. So if I want to, I could. Most of them are pretty dry. I'll just pick out the ones that are a little bit moist. Either retry them later or just use them up. Anyway, good machine. I like it. I guess the only other thing I'd comment on, you know that picture in the ad where it showed the, like it was more of a dish on the ends? Because these are flat. Yeah, it would be nice if they were that way, because when you put things in, it would kind of keep them from going towards the edge. I was careful, but it would be nice if it was more cup shaped, but it's okay. That's the only thing I could fault on them, as not being true to the picture and the ad on these trays. But otherwise, they're very solid. Should last a long time. So after taking out a lot of these peppers, they dried pretty consistently, you know, across from the top to the bottom all the way. So unlike my old cheap plastic dryer that blew the air from the top to the bottom and nothing ever dried the same, you'd have to sort it around and move trays. But this is pretty good. Every one of them is dry. Bottom too. Like I said, the only mistake I made was that I didn't sliced up some of these peppers too fat, so they didn't dry consistently. But other than that, they're all pretty much dry. These were some really sweet peppers too, so there's a lot of sugar content in them. So they'd take a little longer to dry maybe. Anyway, nice machine. Works great. It was worth the money I paid for it so far.